Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Untitled Anime Show, where this week we are going to review Dr. Stone, and Saydar's here to tell us all about it. Saydar, go ahead.
Sure, Dr. Stone started as a manga series that was serialized in the Weekly Shonen Jump magazine beginning in 2017. Viz Media licensed the manga for North America, and the anime began in 2019, adapted by TMS Entertainment. So the setting of the story is 3,700 years in the future after a mysterious light petrified the entire human population around the globe. Teenage genius Senku Ishigami is revived in a world where all evidence of humanity has been eroded by time. After determining, using science, how he was able to revive in the new world, he is able to revive his friend Taiju and one of their classmates. And together, the three of them begin to make plans to revive the rest of civilization using the power of science.
Science!
They science it. So their plans get somewhat derailed with the revival of an expert martial artist, Sakusa. So you can watch Dr. Stone on Funimation or Crunchyroll.
Absolutely, you can. And I'll be honest with you, this is one of the ones that when I first saw it, the thumbnail for the artwork that they have on Crunchyroll and Funimation, the official artwork for it, I turned my nose up at it. I completely did. It just didn't. It didn't. The title did the screen capture did not resonate with me, and I just wasn't interested in watching it. But it's something that we chose, and I'd actually seen it before we decided to review it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really did. Doc, had you considered watching this one before we picked it?
I had heard about it. I actually think I thought about reading the manga at one point because I didn't know. I thought the show was way older than 2019.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was so new. So I think I might have seen his character when I was trying to think of something to read at one point, and I was thinking about clicking on it, and I never did.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You can't judge a book by its cover. At least that's my for this one. So let's roll into the ratings on this one, and we got some stuff that's pretty much across the board here. So this might be an interesting conversation. So let's start out with Originality. Saydar, you rated this a 5.
I did. It feels kind of like another world type anime, but it's still this world. But the main characters find themselves in a totally new version of Earth. And I really like the focus on accurate science. There's in a lot of the animes that I watch, there's all kinds of magic and otherworldly stuff. But I appreciated this. This was cold, hard science that mostly they trust us not to try to do in the real world.
Well, you say trust, but there actually is disclaimers. It's funny because there's actually certain points where there's a mecha version of the main character Senku that pops up, and Mecha Senku comes up and says, "Don't do this. This is the real recipe for gunpowder. Don't do this." Duck, for Originality, you gave this a 3. You want to care to give us that one?
Yeah. So the reason I took points off here is because when they first introduced it, the first two characters, Senku and his buddy, the Big Oaf, it was a really overly smart anime guy, right? And then his pretty dumb, really strong best friend. That's just like two character tropes that are always go together, and you always see them in stories. And then the it's a unique type of post-apocalypse, but the post-apocalyptic setting is something we've been seeing for a while. And I didn't take points off here for this, but Magma and his little henchman guy seem to be completely like Gaston and Lufo from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
I didn't take points off because I thought it was funny.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
When they first showed him, I was like,
that.
whoa.
I can see that. And in a lot of ways, I see a lot of similarity between Senku and I can't remember the name of the main character
Big
in The
Oaf.
Martian.
And
Oh,
Well,
what?
Matt
the
Damon's
Martian.
character.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it
they
is a lot
both
like The
just
Martian.
science the shit out of all of it.
It's
You know?
it's and this actually, I mean, they totally like rolled into it, but it's like watching a survival game
Mm-hmm.
where you start out with nothing and you have to slowly build up to, you know, having like better equipment and everything like that. It
So
totally reminded me of Rust or
say,
Ark.
say, say being someone that plays Rust, that kind of resonates.
Yeah.
So going back, I also gave it a 3, and not
Okay.
because. Here's the thing. It's like you said, Duck. We had the super smart guy, and he actually calls him the Big Oaf.
Hmm.
So Big Oaf friend who's dumb as a brick. We There is a lot of different media where it has the main character going to sleep, getting frozen, or what have you, and then waking up in the future. And Planet of the Apes. I mean, anything. There's so many different scenarios where the main character is from another time, and they're forward in time, but it's a dystopian future, or they don't realize at first that they're forward in time. They think they're back in time. I mean, it's been done. It's not that it's a bad concept. It's not original. That being said, I still enjoyed it, and I'm not gonna ding it further. It's repeating of other people's stories because it's not. It's its original story, but just with the delivery method being something we've already seen in the past. So story wise, Duck, you gave this a 4.
Yeah, so it's an amazing story. I don't want my low originality score to reflect, you know, how I feel about the story. It was amazing. I didn't want to stop. I was totally interested. Every episode, I was actually learning things. It was building on knowledge that I already have from like life experiences, you know, and like so like I knew it was right. I just didn't know that much about the certain subjects that he was doing. Does that make sense?
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It does.
science. Um, And when they started out, I didn't think I was gonna like it. I didn't like Senku or his friend when they first introduced them. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a drag to get through. And then immediately, it flipped around, and I was totally on board from like episode 2. And the characters are all. I mean, eventually we get introduced to like a lot of different characters, and they're all like believable characters. Like there wasn't anybody that was like, okay, nobody would really act like that. This is just an exaggeration of a character because it's an anime. The only really exaggeration is how smart Senku is. Like I don't know. It seems like he has like way more knowledge than is possible to have, but that's what makes him cool.
They do that, and there is a lot of characters in there where I do think some of the characters are a bit of an exaggeration. Like the two guards of the town,
That okay, yeah.
and the mentalist and everything else. They are a bit of an exaggeration, but that's like a big the best characters are characters that are the real person and they just turn the volume up to 11. That's
Hmm.
kind of what you got in this case, except these ones are actually written. Saydar, you gave this a 5 out of 5.
I did.
So
Again,
let's hear it.
the science totally resonated with me. You know, in a lot of the same way that when I was a kid, I loved the Magic School Bus books because it made science a little bit more exciting and accessible. I think Dr. Stone does that in a more grown up way. You know, there is an excellent storyline there. There's a good story arc. There's suspense and there's excitement and action and violence and everything that you need to make an engaging anime. But it's smart, very smart. And the writing is such that you're not bored by the science of it. You're not bored by the smartness of it. That's part of what's so engaging about the storyline is you feel like you're learning something, but you're excited to be learning something.
Fair enough. See, I gave the story a 4 out of 5, only because I think there was just a couple places where they could have drawn some stuff out. There's not a whole lot of filler episodes in this. There's a couple, but there's not a whole lot of filler. They are continuing the storyline on a regular basis. There's just a couple things I wish they would have touched on more, and a couple characters we would have learned more about. But other than that, I fully enjoyed it. I think this is a solid story. It's nothing you're gonna get bored with. So
Oh, definitely.
artwork, we scored this a little low on a couple of you guys. Saydar, you scored this a 3. This is your lowest score, lowest score of the rating. So why did you give this a 3?
I gave it a 3 because I understand the mecha Senku or whatever that pops up. I thought that seemed kind of juvenile, but fine. It's a way to like warn people not to make gunpowder at home and stuff like that.
It's your helpful
But
narrator. That's what it is. Mecha Senku is your helpful
yeah,
narrator.
okay, I accept Mecha Senku, but there were just a couple things where a couple scenes where especially Senku when he got overwhelmed by something, the drawing went all out of whack, and I thought it was very jarring to see him suddenly turn gray and have these like super over exaggerated
Facial
draw.
expressions.
Yeah, that and I had such a hard time in the first couple episodes getting past his hair. I didn't like his
He
hair.
definitely suffers from main antagonist syndrome.
Main
Yeah.
antagonist syndrome. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Um, yeah, the hair is definitely very anime trope. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I really actually like the artwork. I think
Whoa.
there's I did, and here's the thing. It's consistent the whole way through. There's no bad drawings in there that I can see. With stuff you're talking about, Sadar, when they break and they go a different art style for exaggeration purposes or
Hmm.
just to accentuate a certain scene, that is something that you see in manga a lot, and it's kind of an anime thing, and
Hmm.
it's when it's done properly, it can give either drama, but for the biggest reason they do it is comedic value. And the story is engaging, but there is a lot of comedy in this. I'm not even sure what genre I'd put this in. Do I put it in comedy or do I put it in drama? I'm not sure. It's right there on the edge. Duck, but you went the other way when you gave it a 3, just like Sadar. So let's hear your explanation.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that we're not all on the same page with this. I know the whole exaggeration thing where they make like dumb faces or they go chibi for a second. That's all like anime trope. I've never taken points off of anything for that. But their faces, mostly their lips, like half the time. Sometimes they look normal. Sometimes they're like their lips. I don't know what it is. They make dumb faces a lot. I hate like their eyes go wide and their mouths get all like I'm talking to you, Senku. I want to make smartphones. And I, I, I hated it. I couldn't get past it. But they did have individual teeth.
Oh my!
So
Are we still on the teeth with you?
I can't stop looking at it. I look every time I'm watching a drawing of a person. I need to see if they have individual teeth or if it's just like one straight line of white. Sometimes they had the lines of white, but usually when they have their mouth wide open, you can see the outlines of individual teeth. That's going to be important, and I will keep everybody updated on every show about their teeth.
So do I need to make a new slate just for Duck's explanation of this show's expression of teeth?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Anyhow, moving on to depth. Sadar, you gave this a 5 out of 5 again.
I did. I thought, especially in the back, I don't know if it was half or maybe back third. Um, I thought the show was pretty solid the whole way through, but when they started to explain how the village came to be and the history of the village that Senku discovers, I just thought the show got a whole lot deeper with that. I don't want to reveal too much, but for me, that's what made it a solid 5.
I'm not going to reveal a whole much on there either, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 because there is a lot of depth. I wish we knew more about some of the characters from the village again, and that's part of the depth thing that's really making me take a point away. But the founding of the village, we get a lot into that, and I really like it. And I will say this, that a lot of times that when there is a singing character in a show, they will either leave it in Japanese or they will do a crappy cover in English of the song for the dub. The original song was in English. and it's not a crappy cover. So you'll people that are get hung up on that, you don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Uh, Duck, you gave this a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I will say when they started getting into the backstory about the village, that was my favorite part. But yeah, I took points away because they introduced these characters in the beginning of the show, and totally made me turn around. I didn't like the characters when they introduced them, ended up really liking them, and then they separate for story purposes, and then we never see anything about them again. Even when we see flashbacks to where they are, they're not there. So
I honestly think that they might have wanted you to forget about them because they're gonna be big characters. They right near the end of season 2, you get, I know the characters you're talking about, and they come back in a big way, but they're still not really in the show anymore. And
That's season 2.
yeah, season 2.
It's all
No, I'm sorry, the second half of season 1. Season 2, because there is going to be a season 2, it is confirmed. I believe they're going to be an integral part of that story.
Well, they have to if they're going to continue the story. But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of time passing here.
There is. It's well over a year.
I don't think that's good writing if they want us to forget about characters that they introduced. So that's where the points go. And then I didn't think there was enough antagonizing from the bad guys. It's like we had a story, they introduced the bad guy, and then that's it. And then the next antagonist is Science, I guess. You know what I mean? He was basically uninvolved except for like 1 or 2 times.
Science is cruel mother. Science is a cruel mother.
No, I'm going to challenge you on that, Duck, because the next antagonist wasn't Science. The next antagonist was Senku trying to get into the village, trying to be accepted by the village.
Okay, but that's fine. Like, that's the next.
And then it was pneumonia.
It just, I don't know. It felt like that wasn't. It was too long. It was not big enough of a problem to me to spend that much time with.
I mean, it's a pretty big problem when that's his whole plan to, reawaken civilization and also save the chieftain's daughter.
Right. I guess we'll agree to disagree here.
Fight!
Like, I think that takes away from the depth when there's like, obviously something's going on over here and it's going to be a big part of the story and we're just not seeing any of it at all. Now, or maybe they'll do like 1 or 2 flashback episodes where they speed up that whole year and we see it in a later season. Then that would kind of change things. But as it stands right now, that's how I feel about it.
Okay.
That's not even the biggest reason I took points off.
Okay, why'd you take points off? Take a breath.
Because the village, I don't know how in depth we're going. I don't want to spoil anything, but they basically say that the village was founded 3,000 years ago. It's not enough people. They didn't start with enough people to survive for 3,000 years.
Yeah, I actually do agree with that. That is a big
That's
plot
one thing
hole
that I can't
that they
get
don't
past.
that they don't explain.
I did research, and it's not enough.
Yeah,
it bugged me the whole time.
There should have been some third eyes or something going on there after that,
Yeah, exactly.
But that's here nor there.
But that's yeah, I just couldn't get past it.
So going on to our binge category, Duck, you gave this a 4, and it seems like you really did kind of binge through it because you got through this pretty quick.
Yeah, this is the first show we've reviewed that I was like, I've been starting this thing where I wake up pretty early for work and I watch like 2 or 3 episodes before I go to work. It's a nice like zen relax period for me. This is the first anime where I didn't want to stop watching. Like, I would literally watch another episode even if it meant I might be a minute, like I'm pushing it to be late for work. I couldn't stop. I was so interested, and they have perfect cliffhangers where it's like, we're gonna reveal something to you for next episode. Yeah. And so I didn't want to stop watching it. So
they weren't painful cliffhangers though, because there is definitely some shows out there that have freaking painful ones where you're just mad that they did you dirty.
I wouldn't have been upset to have to wait till next week, but I didn't want to stop, watching when I knew I could watch the next episode now.
Fair enough. Saydar, you gave this a 5 out of 5.
No, I agree with Duck. I think just about every episode in this first season had a little cliffhanger in it. Not anything that's going to tear your soul to shreds if you don't immediately watch the next episode. But there was definitely a lot of bingeability on that front. And it's just an enjoyable, engaging show. I mean, I binged it the first time I watched it. Then I binged it with my kids. They loved it. It's a good show to waste a day or two just sitting in front of the TV doing nothing else.
Well, see, I binged it as well, and I binged right through the bloody thing, and I enjoyed it. When I first watched it, the dub hadn't come out yet, so in order for me to watch and binge an anime that's subtitled, it's got to be good because I can't do subtitles, and I didn't. I just there was not like those painful cliffhangers. It was just enough that yeah, I want to see the story continue. I want to see the story continue, and I got all the way through it. Now, Saydar says that she's watched it twice. The first time she watched it, it was by herself. The second time was with her kids. You did something very interesting, and we've referenced it many times in this review about how all the science is real. You conducted a science experiment.
I did. When we get to the end, say, whether we should watch it now or add it to the queue, I was going to say, go ahead, gather your kids. If you've got kids, watch it now with them, and then reserve some time on the weekend to make Senku soda with your kids in the kitchen. Because it's easy, it's fun, it's not, going to blow everybody's mind, but it tastes good. And I will say that if you're not a fan of cilantro, which I am not, I think the recipe can be just great if you omit it. We may make Senku soda again sometime in the future, and we will definitely leave the cilantro out, and I am sure it's going to be as wonderful as 7-Up.
Now, I'm sure that people, when you do that, you're going to take pictures and maybe some videos, and maybe you'll follow them on Saydar's Facebook page, which she recently created. So just look up Saydar's page. You can find it on my page or the Mount Moon Review podcast page, and give her a follow. But moving on to our final scores, after we go through and we average everything out, we come up with our meta score of a perfect 4 out of 5, and in this particular case, we have 4 out of 5 nearsighted suikus. And so now we come to the part of the show we decide, Duck, do you put this in your queue? Do you watch it immediately, or you forget you ever saw it?
Go watch it right now, and you won't stop.
Saydar?
Watch it right now, unless you've got kids, and then I'd say put it in your queue, gather your kids together, and then...
Yep, watch it right now. This is a great anime. There's a couple things just from technicality reasons that it did not get a perfect score, 5 out of 5. This one is perfect. It's great. Go out and watch it immediately. That being said, that has been this episode of the Untitled Anime Show. Make sure that if you like this video, that you subscribe, that you hit the notification bell, and you come back and watch all of our future episodes, as we're going to keep reviewing stuff. And it's stuff that some of us are not going to agree with each other. We're going to love it, we're going to hate it, but this is the best way that you're going to learn what you should watch, because we are not always going to have the same opinion. So you may like what Saydar likes, you may like what Duck likes, you may like what I like, or you may say, if Saydar likes it, I'm be damned if I'm watching it. You could, I don't know. But you can also check out some of our other shows. We have the Mount Moon Review podcast, where Duck and I keep you up to date on all things in the world of Pokemon. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Twitch. You name it, you can find us there. But thank you all for watching, and hope you enjoy Dr. Stone. Have a good week.